Let us now begin with Module 3, Aircraft Turnaround. In this module, you shall learn about 1. Aircraft handling chain. 2. Activities on the apron during and prior to aircraft arrival and departure. 3. Headset man. 4. Choking and coning. 5. Offloading. 6. Onloading. 7. Turnaround coordinator. 8. Duties and responsibilities of a turnaround coordinator.
At any airport, several arrival and departures take place in a day. Arrival and departure of an aircraft involves a chain of procedures and activities. Arrival, offloading of passengers and baggage, loading of passengers and baggage, departure. Let's have a look at an aircraft handling chain. Let's take a look at the aircraft handling chain in more detail. How should we monitor the apron? The apron must be checked for suitability for the type of aircraft due on the stand. Equipment lying on the apron should be clear of the area. Chocks and cones are ready to be placed in position. There should be no ground staff on apron. Stand entry lights are working, switched on, and indicate the correct type and variations of aircraft. No foreign object debris, FOD, lying on the apron. Remember, never approach an aircraft when its engines are on.
How would we get to know if the aircraft engines are switched on?
If the anti-collision lights above and below the aircraft are flashing red, then that is an indication that the engines are on and it is unsafe to move close to the aircraft. Remember now, approaching the aircraft should occur only after engines spool down, anti-collision lights are switched off, and clearance to approach the aircraft is given by the headset man.
Who is the headset man?
The first ground staff to approach the aircraft should be the headset man. After he has plugged in his headset and communicates with the captain in regards to any issues which may be useful information to the ground staff. Once the aircraft has parked and the headset man has given us clearance to approach the aircraft, we must place the chocks and cones. On arrival, the aircraft will be held by the main gear brakes and then the parking brake. As a precaution, a secondary device is used to prevent aircraft movement on the parking bay. This is a wedge-shaped device called a chock. All airlines have their own procedures for chocking of aircraft. As shown in the pictures, aircraft types and duration of stay at the airport will demand different chocking procedures. Now, let's take a look at coning. The purpose of coning is to create a safety buffer around specific areas of the aircraft that are susceptible to ground damage. Cones should be positioned at each wingtip, in front and at the outboard side of wing-mounted engines, in front of propellers, in front of other areas on an aircraft that are in conflict with the normal flow of equipment during handling operations, at the tail area. At a distance of approximately 0.5 to 1 meter from the protected area, cones should be removed just prior to the aircraft's departure to ensure maximum protection of the aircraft. Offloading is the next action. The first thing staff must do is to check an aircraft for any damage, check all passengers and cargo doors and the surrounding areas for any damage. If damage is found, you should have procedures in place for reporting it.
Check whom to report to. An initial investigation to be carried out. Photographs will need to be taken and enquiries made. The damage has to be examined by engineers. You must know the procedures for reporting any damage to the aircraft and the initial steps that should be taken.
While offloading an aircraft, ensure that the baggage conveyor belts are positioned correctly. No part of the equipment should be touching the aircraft. Staff can walk on stationary belts with the safety rails raised but not moving belts. Vehicles must never be left unattended while the engines are running.
Once the aircraft has been successfully offloaded, the next activity is to onload the aircraft. This activity may be immediate or after some time interval.
Before an aircraft is onloaded, important safety checks must be carried out. For example, all holds should be checked for damage. There could have been a spill that has gone unnoticed during the unloading. There could have been damage to cargo door sill which has gone unnoticed. This could be caused by misalignment of guide rails and last container misaligned, which hits the depressor with top corner of the ULD. Let's hear about a ground-related incident from Professor Learning.
A cargo aircraft tipped on its tail while being offloaded. Tipping is an action caused when aircraft tail touches the ground while the aircraft is parked on the parking bay. This occurs due to lack of supervision of offloading and onloading activities as per the arrival or departure load.
This may be an isolated incident at this airport, but not an unusual incident worldwide. Hence, a great discipline over this area is required to avoid any accidents and ensure highest level of safety. The one person responsible for controlling and monitoring all these activities is the turnaround coordinator.
The turnaround coordinator watches the complete operation. A turnaround coordinator is identified by a distinct uniform accessory compared to all the other staff working on the apron. He is the focal point for all contractors and airline personnel. A turnaround coordinator supervises controls, manages and ensures a safe system of work is employed during the various stages of the operation. He is present throughout the arrival, handling and departure process. He works on to an agreed plan for the turnaround and has sufficient authority to control the activities around the aircraft. He coordinates the arrival and departure of all service vehicles, cargo loads, catering, fueling, and pushback operations. Professor Orion will brief you more about the airside operations that need to be monitored by the turnaround coordinator.
Professor Learning has already introduced you to the turnaround coordinator. He decides the order in which handlers should approach the aircraft, the positions they should take up to make sure everyone can get to and from the aircraft safely and without damaging the aircraft. Any differences between aircraft and stands which affect how the turnaround is carried out should be identified. He ensures clear and rapid exit for aircraft refueling vehicles. The turnaround coordinator will indicate the readiness for chocks, vehicles and air bridge to the coordinator, who will then direct the various operatives to move towards the aircraft. This brings us to the end of the third module, Aircraft Turnaround, where we have learned aircraft handling chain, activities on the apron during and prior to aircraft arrival and departure, headset man, chocking and coning, offloading, onloading, turnaround coordinator, duties and responsibilities of a turnaround coordinator. Thank you.